Welcome to Living Mindfully, a peaceful space for those who are seeking healing, inner peace, and deeper self-understanding through the lens of mindfulness and Buddhist wisdom. In today's fast-paced world, we're constantly pushed to achieve more, be more, and prove our worth. Somewhere along the way, many of us began to believe that we're just not enough, not good enough, not successful enough, not worthy enough. If you've ever felt worn down by self-criticism, burdened by perfectionism, or stuck in comparison, you're not alone. And you're in the right place. This channel isn't about chasing perfection. It's about learning to embrace your imperfections. It's not about finding your worth in external validation. It's about reconnecting with the deep, unconditional value that already exists within you. At Living Mindfully, we explore what it means to live with awareness, compassion, and authenticity, not by changing who we are, but by coming home to ourselves. Together, we'll dive into timeless Buddhist teachings, gentle mindfulness practices, and soul-nourishing reflections that help us break free from the inner critic, release the pressure to constantly perform, and discover the quiet strength of simply being. You don't need to be fixed. You don't need to become someone else. You're already enough. This journey isn't about becoming perfect. It's about remembering your wholeness. So if you're ready to slow down, breathe deeply, and start treating yourself with more kindness, welcome. You're exactly where you need to be. When not enough becomes a whisper in your mind, have you ever had a quiet voice inside you that says, you're not enough, not smart enough, not attractive enough, not successful enough, not worthy enough? It doesn't always shout. Sometimes it's just a whisper, a subtle feeling that follows you through the day. You get a compliment, but somehow you still don't feel good. You achieve a goal, but the joy doesn't last. You look around, compare, and think, why can't I be more like them? That whisper of not enough has a way of clinging to us even when there's no reason for it. And slowly, it shapes how we see ourselves. We begin to believe that we must constantly earn our worth, that we have to fix ourselves before we can feel peace, that only when we become better will we deserve love, rest, or happiness. But what if that voice isn't telling the truth? What if not enough is just a story? One you've been told, one you've learned, but not one you have to keep believing. In the teachings of mindfulness and Buddhism, we're invited to look deeply into these internal narratives, not to fight them, not to drown them out with false positivity, but to see them clearly with compassion. You are not your self-doubt. You are not the voice that criticizes you. You are the awareness that can hear that voice and choose to respond with kindness instead of judgment. The truth is, you were never meant to be perfect. You were meant to be whole. And wholeness includes your flaws, your mistakes, your fears, and your beauty, all of it. This chapter is a gentle reminder. You don't have to chase your worth. You already have it. And with mindfulness, you can start to hear a different voice. One that whispers not, you're not enough, but you are already enough. Illuminating the shadows of comparison. We often don't realize it, but we live inside a mirror, constantly reflecting back images of who we think we're supposed to be. We look at others and silently whisper to ourselves, they're smarter, they're more beautiful, they're doing better than me. Little by little, comparison becomes a quiet thief that steals our sense of worth. It's not just about social media or the outside world. Comparison lives in our minds. It appears in the success of a friend, the curated photos of strangers, or the quiet envy we feel in someone else's ease. Even when we know better, something inside us still asks, why am I not more like them? But here's the truth. Every person is on a unique journey, shaped by lessons, pain, and purpose that we can't see from the outside. Comparison is like judging a seed by the blossom of another without understanding what season it's in. Buddhism teaches that suffering often comes from clinging, and comparison is a subtle form of clinging. We hold on to an idealized image of who we think we should be, and the more we compare, the more distant we feel from that image. But that image isn't real. It's a fantasy the mind creates and chases endlessly. So instead of asking, am I as good as them? We can gently ask, am I being true to myself? Instead of measuring our worth by someone else's life, we can start listening to the quiet truth within our own. Healing begins when we shine light on the shadow of comparison, not by fighting it, but by seeing it clearly with understanding and compassion. You were never meant to be like anyone else. You were meant to be you. And in a world that constantly pulls us to compare, choosing to be yourself is an act of deep courage. Compassion is not weakness, it is wisdom. We often mistake compassion for weakness, softness, or giving up. In a world that praises strength, competition, and achievement. Compassion can sometimes be seen as unrealistic, even a barrier to success. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Compassion doesn't mean pampering yourself or ignoring mistakes. It means having the courage to face pain, both your own and others, without turning away. It's the power to open your heart instead of closing it down. It's the strength of presence, acceptance, and understanding. In Buddhist teachings, compassion is not just a feeling, it's a quality of wisdom. Because when you deeply understand yourself, you stop punishing yourself. When you truly understand others, you stop judging them. And when you see life through the eyes of compassion, you realize that suffering has roots, and that no one needs to be perfect to be worthy of love. Many of us grew up with harshness, learning to use self-criticism as motivation. But over time, that harshness only makes the heart cold. We think we must push ourselves through fear or force change, but the harder we try, the more exhausted we become. Compassion offers a different path, not by giving up, but by holding space. When you face mistakes with kindness, you're not denying responsibility, you're creating room to heal and grow. Compassion is not weakness. It's the courage to not respond to pain with more pain. It's the strength to keep your heart soft in a hard world. It's the wisdom to see that everyone, including yourself, is doing their best to get through something. And when you start treating yourself with compassion, your inner world begins to shift. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You only need the courage to see yourself with loving eyes, like a mother watching her child learn to walk, stumble, and still deserve to be held close. Practicing seeing yourself with understanding and compassion. The journey of letting go of self-criticism and building lasting self-worth doesn't happen overnight. It's a continuous process that requires patience and daily practice. One of the most important steps is learning to see yourself through eyes of understanding and compassion. Instead of judging your flaws or criticizing yourself for mistakes, you begin to pause and observe yourself with curiosity and kindness. When you truly listen to yourself without judgment, you start to uncover hidden layers, fears, desires, and wounds that need healing. Self-compassion is not self-pity. It's a sincere acceptance that you are, like every human being, sometimes strong and sometimes vulnerable, sometimes successful and sometimes struggling. When you look at yourself this way, you give yourself permission to be imperfect, to learn, and to grow. Practicing compassion towards yourself also transforms how you talk to yourself. Instead of harsh statements like, "I'm not good enough" or "I always fail," you can gradually replace them with gentler phrases like, "I'm doing the best I can," or "I deserve love even without being perfect." Mindfulness meditation exercises help deepen this connection with yourself. For example, while sitting in meditation, you can simply observe your breath and notice whatever emotions arise without trying to change or avoid them. This is how you learn to fully accept yourself, both your darkness and your light. Over time, this practice builds a healthy relationship with yourself, one based on respect, love, and understanding. When you become your own friend, you won't be as affected by outside judgments, and you'll find peace from within. This journey is not always easy, but with every step you take, you move closer to freedom from the chains of self-criticism and comparison. Give yourself permission to slow down, to breathe, and to live authentically with a loving heart and clear wisdom. Peace comes from within, not from recognition. We live in a world where external recognition is often seen as the key measure of our self-worth. From a young age, many of us are taught that in order to be loved and respected, we must achieve, be praised, or at least avoid criticism. This creates a cycle where we chase approval as a way to prove our value. But the profound truth that Buddhist wisdom reminds us is this: true peace does not come from others' recognition or approval. It doesn't depend on how much you accomplish or how you look in the eyes of others. Genuine peace arises from within, from understanding, accepting, and loving yourself exactly as you are right now. When you rely on external validation, you become vulnerable to emotional ups and downs. A compliment may lift your spirit, but criticism can deeply hurt you. This leaves you living in uncertainty, never fully in control of your own feelings. Inner peace, on the other hand, is a steady and unshakable state. It is a deep stillness and unconditional acceptance of yourself. When you learn to find peace from within, you no longer need others' opinions or recognition to feel complete or happy. Buddhism teaches that everything outside is impermanent, always changing. Recognition is no different. It may come today, but be gone tomorrow. Building happiness on such an unstable foundation inevitably leads to suffering and disappointment. Practicing mindfulness and meditation helps us connect more deeply with ourselves and the present moment. As we sit quietly observing our breath and emotions, we begin to realize that the source of peace is not outside but inside our own mind. We learn to accept all feelings without being swept away by them, maintaining balance and calm. An important part of finding inner peace is forgiveness for ourselves and others. When we let go of resentment, regret, or harsh self-judgment, our hearts become lighter, no longer chained to the past or unrealistic expectations. Inner peace also allows us to live more fully in the present. We are no longer caught up in past regrets or future worries, but can fully embrace each moment of life. This brings true freedom. Freedom from dependence, from fear, and freedom to live with gratitude and love. We don't need to be perfect to deserve peace. It is acceptance and love for ourselves, even with our flaws and limits, that open the door to true happiness. When you nurture peace within, you will also find the world around you becoming softer and more complete. Remember, recognition from others is only a small part of life. True value lies in how you see and care for yourself. And when you center your life on inner peace, you gain the strength to face all challenges with a calm and loving heart. Live like a flower, no need a reason to bloom. Life often makes us feel like we have to prove our worth through achievements, through what we do, or how others see us. But if we look deeper into the nature of life and ourselves, we discover a simple yet profound truth. You don't need to accomplish anything or change in any way to deserve love and to shine. Just like a flower, you simply need to be yourself and naturally bloom, without reason, without waiting for anyone's approval. A flower doesn't ask why it should bloom. It doesn't care if someone notices or judges its beauty. It simply lives fully in each moment of its existence, offering its sweet fragrance to the world around it, regardless of whether anyone pays attention or not. And it is this naturalness, this simplicity, that creates its undeniable strength and beauty. You are the same. You already have the beauty and value inside you. You don't need to chase social standards or compromise yourself to gain acceptance. When you learn to love yourself and accept even your imperfections, you will feel peace spreading throughout your soul. That peace doesn't depend on external conditions. It comes from a deep understanding of who you truly are. Living like a flower doesn't mean ignoring challenges or refusing to grow. On the contrary, it is a balance between effort and letting go, striving to do your best while releasing harshness and unnecessary pressures that society puts on us. When you do this, you will feel lighter, freer, and more whole. We often forget that life is not a race to be recognized or to achieve more. Life is a journey of awareness and mindfulness. When we live mindfully, we are no longer caught up in self-doubt or comparisons with others. We realize that we are part of a vast universe, worthy of respect and full of meaning. Take time to care for and listen to yourself each day. Let compassion and love flow through your thoughts and actions. When you live with mindfulness, life no longer feels like a series of pressures but becomes a beautiful painting made of peaceful moments, genuine emotions, and deep connection with yourself and those around you. If you find these teachings meaningful and want to join me on the journey of mindful living, finding inner peace, and learning to love yourself, please hit the subscribe button on the Living Mindfully channel. Don't forget to click the notification bell so you never miss new videos where we explore deep lessons and practice meditation and mindfulness every day. Let living mindfully be your companion on the path to self-love and fully embracing each moment. Thank you for taking the time to listen and walk this path with me. I look forward to seeing you in the next videos, where we will continue to open and nurture the peace within.